Hello there. So to understand why we go till root n, let's take a general integer, say n. Now, since n is an integer, this can be represented as product of two integers, say x and y. And this relation will hold true for all integers. Now, to understand this better, let's take a few examples. Let's say I take n as 11. So if n is 11, what can the values of x and y be? The values of x and y can be 1 and 11, or it can be 11 and 1, right? Now, if I take another example, let's say I take 24, what can the values of x and y be? So x can be 1, y can be 24, or x can be 24, y can be 1. Similarly, x and y can be 2 and 12, or 12 and 2, right? We can continue this and say 3 and 8, or 8 and 3, and so on, right? So n is 24. Now, if I take another example for n, let's say 25, what will the values of x and y be? X can be 1, y can be 25, or x can be 25, y can be 1, or both of them can be 5, right? So if you take a look at whatever we have over here, you would see that when we take two integers such that when they are multiplied, it gives us n. One of them is of course smaller than the other one, right? And it is true for these two examples. But if we go to the last one, we come across a case where both of them are equal. So can we say that among x and y, one of them will be smaller than the other one or will be equal to the other one? We can, right? And that is why we can generalize this and write this as x less than equal to y, correct? Now, x and y just represents the two integers which when multiplied together will give us n. And x less than equal to y means one of them is smaller or is equal to the other one. Now let's continue and let's multiply x on both the sides. So can we say x multiplied with x less than equal to x multiplied by y? We can, right? So if we continue from here, what will we get? We will get x square over here, and here we will get xy, right? Now take a look at what we have here. We have n is equal to xy, right? So can I substitute this n over here? We can. And this will make it x square less than equal to n. Now, if I continue, what will I get? I will get x less than equal to square root of n, right? So if you take a look at this, that is x less than equal to square root of n, and you take a look at this, that is n is equal to x multiplied by y, what can you conclude? So n has been represented as product of two integers, and those two integers are represented as x and y, right? So if I say x is less than equal to square root of n, what exactly do I mean? I mean that if I take n where its factors are x and y, I can say for sure that one of its factors will be either less than root n or will be equal to root n, right? And of course, if one of the factors, let's say x is less than root n, the other factor, which is y, will be greater than root n, right? Similarly, if one of its factors, let's say x is equal to root n, the other factor will also be equal to root n. So, summarizing, what did we get? If we have an integer, say n, it can be represented as a product of two integers, say x and y. And one of the integers will be either less than root n or will be equal to root n. And so the other integer will be either greater than root n or will be equal to root n. But in summary, for n which is equal to x multiplied with y, one of the integers is less than or equal to root n, right? And that is why if we go from, let's say, 2 to root n for a number, say n, which is composite, we will for sure get one of the divisors between this range. And if number is a prime number instead, then we won't get any divisors over here, right? And that is why when we have to find, say, divisors of a given number, or when we have to determine if a given number is a prime number or not, we go till root n. And by the way, I've already solved these two questions in one of the videos where, given an integer n, I have discussed solution to find all the divisors of n, or given an integer n, determine if the given number or n is a prime number or not. And if you're interested, you can check that video out by clicking the card that must be appearing on the top right section of your screen. And this is not all, by the way. I've solved 17 different questions across these two categories and 4 more questions in this video. So all in all, a total of 21 questions in these 3 videos. So if the list looks interesting to you, please check them out. And this is all for this video. I hope I've been able to teach you something new and useful. And if you have any suggestions, feedback, or queries, feel free to put them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.